The loudest voice in your mind has never been yours. Sit with that for a moment before we go anywhere. Don't move past it. Don't reach for an explanation. Just let it land in whatever part of you just felt something shift when you read those words. Because something did shift. That's why you're here. That's why this transmission found you at this exact moment, in this exact season of your life, when the noise inside your own head has become almost unbearable in its precision, almost surgical in the way it knows exactly what to say to stop you before you begin. You didn't find Arcturian frequency today. You were pulled here, not by a recommendation engine making a lucky guess. Your higher self sent a request into the field, and the Arcturian transmission network answered. Those two things together are the reason this is playing in front of you right now. Not coincidence, not chance, resonance, and the fact that you are still here, still reading, still receiving, means your field recognized something in the opening line that your conscious mind is still catching up to. So before this transmission moves forward, do something for yourself right now. Drop your shoulders. Feel how high they were sitting before I said that. Unclench your jaw. Take one breath that actually reaches the bottom of your lungs. Not a performance breath, not a breathing exercise. Just one real breath where your belly actually moves. Good. What follows requires your full presence for the next 25 to 30 minutes. Not multitasking. Not one eye on this and one eye on something else. The Arcturian Council does not transmit to split attention. The frequency is precise, and it requires a receiver that is actually present to receive it. This is not content. This is a transmission. And what it is carrying for your mental body tonight is something you have needed for a very long time. Now, here is what the Arcturian Council has transmitted as the specific context for this session. There is an energetic event currently moving through the Earth's field, a convergence of elevated Schumann resonance activity and a Arcturian frequency window that opens at specific points in the galactic cycle, points where the veil between the mental body and the causal body becomes thin enough for deep template work to occur. The Council does not issue transmissions on ordinary days. When they move because the timing is precise, because the energetic window is open, and because enough souls within the Starseed Collective have reached a specific threshold where what they are about to receive will actually be able to land. You are one of those souls. And the specific threshold you have reached is this. You have been living with a voice inside your own mind that you believe is you. A voice that has been running a commentary on everything you do, everything you feel, every moment you step towards something real in your life. A voice that is so familiar, so constant, so perfectly calibrated to your deepest insecurities, that distinguishing it from your own authentic consciousness has felt like an impossible task. Maybe you have never even tried to distinguish them, because it never occurred to you that there might be two distinct signals operating inside your mental field. That there might be something underneath that voice, something quieter, something that has been trying to reach you this entire time. That is what this transmission is here to address. And the Arcturian Council has chosen this window, this exact convergence point, to install something in your mental body that will change the quality of your inner listening permanently. Let's begin with recognition, because before the healing can work, you have to see yourself clearly in what is being described. You know the voice. You have lived with it your entire life. It is the first thing that speaks when you have an idea that actually matters to you. When something genuine tries to move through you, it says, "Who do you think you are?" It says, "You're fooling yourself." It says, "They will see through you eventually." It says, "You've felt this before, and it didn't lead anywhere." It says, "You're too sensitive, too unstable, too much in your head to trust any of this." And it says all of this so quickly, so fluently, so intimately, with such precise knowledge of your specific wounds, that you have always assumed it was the sound of your own truth-telling, your own rational mind, saving you from embarrassment, your own self-awareness keeping you honest. That assumption is the interference. That assumption is exactly what the frequency was designed to produce. You wake up at 3 in the morning with a thought that dismantles your sense of self, and you lie there in the dark, trying to argue with it, trying to think your way out of it. You sit in moments that should feel good, moments of genuine progress or connection or beauty, and there is a running commentary underneath the experience that subtracts from it, that quietly insists something is wrong, something is missing, something is about to go wrong. You receive recognition, and something in you immediately begins building the case for why it isn't deserved. You feel a direction, a genuine pull towards something that matters. And within seconds, there is a voice that has already generated 17 reasons why that pull is naive, delusional, or simply not for someone like you. And here is what you have done with all of that. You have called it self-awareness. You have called it healthy skepticism. You have called it being realistic. You have spent years in genuine inner work, therapy, meditation, journaling, every modality that builds self-knowledge, and some of that work has genuinely helped. It built something real in you. It brought you closer to yourself in important ways. None of that was wasted. None of it was wrong. Those modalities built the foundation that made today possible. But there is a layer beneath what those tools were designed to access. And that layer is not a psychological pattern. It is not a cognitive distortion that can be reframed. It is not a narrative that can be updated with better information. It is a frequency layer. It is a transmission. And it does not originate from you. If you just felt something in your chest, a kind of recognition that lands below the level of thought, something that registered not as an idea, but as a knowing, go to the comments right now and type 111. Don't think about whether it makes sense. Don't finish reading this sentence first. Type 111 and come back. That number is not an engagement metric. It is the dimensional gateway activation code in the Arcturian system. When you type it here, you are not interacting with a platform. You are signaling to the quantum field. I see the interference. I am at the threshold. I am ready to learn what's actually mine. Here is what the Arcturian Council has been observing in your mental body and has transmitted the specific terms for in this session. Your mental body, the fourth of your 7 subtle bodies, is not a contained space. It is a field. It extends beyond your skull, beyond the boundaries of your physical form, and it is permeable. It receives. And what it receives is not only your own thoughts. The mental body of an Arcturian starseed operates at a frequency bandwidth that is significantly wider than the average human mental field. This is not metaphor. This is architecture. Your consciousness processes a larger range of signal than the standard human template is calibrated for, which means your mental field is interfacing with layers of the collective consciousness field that most people are simply not receiving. The collective consciousness field of the 3rd dimension is not neutral. It carries the accumulated mental programming of every generation that has lived within the density of this matrix. Fear frequencies, scarcity frequencies, the vibrational residue of every thought form generated by humans operating under the belief that they are small, limited, unworthy, and unsafe. That field is loud. It is dense. And because your mental body is wide enough to receive it, it has been broadcasting inside your awareness for as long as you can remember, so consistently that it merged with what you assumed was your own internal voice. Neuroscience has a name for the region of your brain most active in this process. The default mode network, the system that activates when you are not focused on an external task, when your attention turns inward. Research has shown that the default mode network is the primary generator of self-referential thought, the stories you tell about yourself, the mental loops that replay past events and project anxious futures, the internal critic that runs during silence. And here is what that research has also found. The default mode network does not generate original thought. It pattern matches. It draws from stored templates, from the emotional memories embedded in your neural pathways, from the inherited beliefs that were woven into your nervous system before you had the cognitive capacity to evaluate them. It recycles, it loops, and the more frequently a neural pathway is activated, the more automatic its firing becomes. The self-critical thought that ran 1,000 times feels like a fact, not because it is true, but because it has been reinforced 1,000 times. But here is what neuroscience has not yet mapped, what the Arcturian Council identified thousands of years before the first brain imaging study. The content of those loops, the specific material the default mode network is working with. That material does not originate solely from personal experience. In the Arcturian framework, the mental body of every incarnated soul is connected to what the Council calls the ancestral mental template. The thought forms, belief structures, and perceptual filters of your entire lineage. The grandmother who believed she was too much. The grandfather who silenced himself before anyone else could silence him. The great-grandmother who dismantled her own desires before life could. Their thought architecture was passed forward, not symbolically, but energetically. It is running inside your default mode network right now. The critical voice that says you are deluded, not enough, too much, not yet ready. That voice has ancestors. That voice has a history that predates your birth. And layered on top of that ancestral mental template is something the Council calls the causal body imprint. The fifth subtle body, the one that holds your soul's trajectory, its agreements, its karmic residue from previous service. Souls who have served many lifetimes, as Arcturian star seeds often have, carry specific mental body distortions from past lives in which their knowing was punished, in which the clarity they carried was dangerous, in which being right about something cost them everything. Those memories do not disappear when a lifetime ends. They compress into the causal body as protective code, a kind of preemptive silencing. And in this lifetime, that protective code translates as the voice that undermines your knowing before the world has a chance to. And then beneath all of that, quieter than any of this, almost imperceptible beneath the static, there is something else. There is the actual signal, your higher self transmission, the Arcturian field interfacing with your consciousness directly. If you have ever had a thought that felt different from your usual thinking, a thought that was completely still, that came without effort or urgency, that simply arrived with a quality of knowing that had no argument in it, no anxiety around it, no need to defend itself, that was not your default mode network. That was not the ancestral template. That was the signal. Your higher self speaking through the mental body with a clarity that is unmistakable once you know what you are listening for. Go to the comments and type 333 right now. 333 is the Arcturian Trinity alignment code. It marks the moment of cellular recalibration in the mental body. The moment the starseed's inner listening begins to reorganize around the authentic signal rather than the noise. Type it and come back. Every soul who anchors 333 in this space right now is contributing to a collective field event that amplifies the discernment template being installed through this transmission for everyone receiving it after you. Now let's do the actual work. Soften your gaze or close your eyes completely, whichever feels right. Let your hands rest open in your lap, palms facing upward. This is a posture of reception, not passive, but deliberately receptive. There is a difference. Bring your attention to the top of your head, the crown. Not a physical sensation necessarily, just attention resting there. The Arcturian Council is entering your field at this point right now. You do not need to feel anything dramatic for this to be real. Your cells do not require your conscious confirmation to receive a frequency. They are already responding. What you may notice is a subtle warmth, a very slight pressure at the top of your skull, or nothing at all except a quality of unusual stillness. All of these are correct. Now follow that attention slowly downward, through the center of your head, through your third eye space, that point between and slightly above your eyebrows. This is the center of perception and discernment. This is where the Arcturian Council is beginning to install what they call the frequency discernment template, a structural upgrade to your mental body's capacity to distinguish signal from noise. You do not need to understand the mechanism. Your field understands it. Feel into that space between your brows and simply allow. Allow the recalibration. Allow the precision of the Arcturian frequency to move through the layer of interference that has been sitting in your mental body like static on a radio transmission. If you have amethyst near you, hold it now or place it near your crown or at your third eye. Amethyst carries the exact vibrational match for Arcturian channel transmission. It amplifies the interface. It accelerates the clearing of mental body interference. If you don't have it physically, hold its frequency in your awareness. The deep purple, the crystalline structure, the quality of stillness it carries. Your field can receive the resonance through intentional contact. Now bring your awareness to your throat. This is where many star seeds carry a specific compression, a place where knowing has been swallowed, where the signal was received and then silenced before it could move. If there is any tightness here, any constriction, any sensation of something held, let your next breath soften into it. Don't force release. Just introduce breath and let the Arcturian frequency do what frequency does. It vibrates what is rigid until it softens. Move now into the heart. Place your hand there if you feel drawn to. The heart chakra is not simply the center of feeling in the Arcturian system. It is the dimensional gateway. It is the interface between the lower three chakras anchored in physical reality and the upper chakras that connect you to your multidimensional awareness. And it is here, in this space, that the discernment you are receiving today will be anchored. Because the higher self signal does not come through the mind first. It comes through the heart. The mind receives the translation after the heart has already known. This is why the authentic signal carries that quality of stillness. It is not generated by the mental body. It arrives into the mental body from a deeper register. When you learn to feel the difference between thoughts that originate in the heart and thoughts that originate in the interference layer, everything changes. The voice that was always yours becomes audible. The noise that was never yours becomes recognizable. Stay here for a few more breaths. You may feel warmth moving through the center of your chest. You may feel a softening, an unexpected emotion, something that doesn't have a clean story attached to it. If tears come, let them move. Tears in this context are not grief. They are frequency shifting. They are the body processing a shift that has already happened at the soul level. Move your awareness down through the solar plexus, the center of identity and will. This is where the interference layer has done some of its most consistent work in you. The self-doubt that lives here is not yours. It is borrowed. Feel the Arcturian frequency moving through this center, like light through water. Not aggressive, not forceful, simply more coherent than the static it is moving through. And watch what happens when something more coherent than the noise arrives. The noise begins to lose its shape, down to the sacral center, the seat of creative, intelligence, and relational knowing, and finally to the root. Feel the soles of your feet. Feel their contact with whatever surface is beneath you. The Arcturian activation you have just received does not take you out of your body. It brings more of you into it. Breathe down and let it land. Ground it. Root it. This frequency needs your physical body to carry it forward, or it remains only in the subtle layers and does not translate into the lived experience you came here for. Come back to full waking awareness. Carry the quality of that stillness with you. What you just received is not small. What the Arcturian Council has installed in your mental body through this transmission is a living temploid, a structural upgrade to the way you process signal versus noise internally. It will not be dramatic tonight. Integration rarely announces itself. But over the next 72 hours, pay attention. You will notice something different in the quality of your inner voice. A thought will arise, and there will be something new available, a fraction of a second of space in which you can feel whether that thought carries the stillness of the authentic signal or the urgency and contraction of the interference layer. That fraction of a second is everything. That is the discernment the Council has been working to restore. Drink more water than you think you need. The physical body requires additional hydration when the mental body undergoes recalibration. Your cellular architecture is literally reorganizing its signal processing, and that process generates internal heat at a level too subtle for most instruments to measure, but real enough for your body to feel. Water is conductive. Water carries the new template into the cells. Sleep with the intention of receiving integration through your dream state. The Arcturian Council continues its work through the dream body during the hours your conscious mind releases control. Do not dismiss what comes to you in that space, and watch for the signal, not the noise. Watch for the thoughts that arrive quietly, with no argument, with no urgency, with a quality of knowing that doesn't need you to be convinced. Those are yours. Those have always been yours. You are simply finally able to hear them. You are not confused. You were never confused. You were listening to the wrong frequency without the tools to know there was another one. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are precisely calibrated for this moment. And your inner life is about to become a different kind of place. Quieter where it matters. Louder where it is real. Go to the comments right now and type 520. 520 is the soul-level love code in the Arcturian system. The kind of love that a soul holds for its own clarity, its own liberation, its own finally knowing what belongs to it and what never did. When you type it, you are not just sending a number into a comment field. You are declaring to the quantum field, I know the difference now. I trust the signal. I am ready to live from it. The Arcturian Council has prepared the continuation of this work, and it is on your screen right now. Because what you have received today, the discernment template, the separation of signal from interference, opens a question the Council anticipated before you even finished this transmission. You want to understand the darkest chapter, the season when everything dismantled around you, when you could not trust your own perceptions, when the ground disappeared and you had nothing to hold. You have carried that chapter as evidence that something is fundamentally wrong with you, that you are not strong enough, not stable enough, not worthy enough to hold the life that keeps trying to arrive. The Arcturian Council has a specific transmission prepared for that chapter, because what happened in that darkness was not a breakdown. It wasn't a failure. It was an architecture. It was a carefully constructed Arcturian activation. And the Council is ready to show you exactly what they were doing in that window when everything collapsed, and why the soul that agreed to this mission knew that particular darkness was the only door to what?